I just want to say quickly that although I do not have the chapbook here yet, the first 15 Chinese silences are going to be published in the chapbook by Tin Fish, which is a great Hawaii-based press, so do look for that if you're interested. So, okay, questions? Yes.
Tim.
Yes, hi.
I have a 7-part question for you.
Oh dear, okay.
I'll ask them all at once at the end.
Okay.
Were you one of the 13,000 at the Billy Collins reading?
I was. It was only 1,300, but yes, I was there. Yes.
If it was a bigger place, it could have been more.
I'm sure.
So you were there.
I was there. Yes.
And that blows the next 3 parts of my question.
Oh no. Okay.
Did you get a seat? Couldn't you afford it, or were you afraid of being seen?
It was free. It was free, so I could afford it. It was actually part of the, UW-Madison opened this big new student union, and it was part of the events for that. So it was a huge ballroom, and so I was able to get a seat. Now, whether I were or not, I was embarrassed to be seen there. I'll take the fifth on that one.
One serious question.
Yes.
If you were to replace Billy Collins and Mary Oliver as the only 2 living poets who are in every of the remaining bookstores in America, with 2 other living American poets, who would you choose?
Wow, that's an excellent question. That's a really good question. I mean, I think that's part of the problem, though, is that we do have bookstores where maybe if there is a poetry section, there's room for 2 poets, right? And I think the answer is not so much that I'd like to replace those 2. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with Billy Collins and Mary Oliver. I mean, they're fine poets, but I just think that there should be room for a lot more poets. I mean, people don't, I mean, a lot of people don't know who people like, Robert Creeley, are, or, people like Charles Olson, or, some of these, neither of those are currently living poets, but so that was, I'm not answering your question very well. Jamie, do you want to bail me out here?
Clear my throat here. Yeah, I think it should be expanded. I wouldn't want to take away anybody, but more so just add to. And I guess if I would add to, who don't I see? I'd like to see more Graham Faust books, so I guess that means he has to write more. And probably Nick.
Good answer. You'll be Bonk next month also. Do we have more questions? Question for the band. You guys have such a full sound, I'm wondering what your missing band member plays.
Cool. She plays a lot of banjo and mandolin, and she also throws in a 3rd-part harmony. So we miss her a lot. We can hear a huge difference when she's not here. It's kind of hard to play without her, but so she plays mostly banjo.
How often are you all together with her so far away?
Not too often. Yeah, we try to get together about once every 2 months or so to play some gigs, practice. But it's kind of tough with living.
Her job allows her to travel, kind of. It's not even that it allows her to travel, but for her job, sometimes she's in Chicago, so we always just take advantage of those times. That's the only, I think that's kind of the way we stay alive, I guess, the 3 of us. And this, too. We live together, so we just practice at night, keep the dream alive. It was so not inspiring at all. Keep the dream alive.
More questions?
Yeah, I have a question for the band. It's families, right?
It is.
Yeah, cool. So I noticed a lot of your songs are Bible stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
So question: have you guys always sort of have you grown up in the church, or have you guys? What made you start writing songs like you sing now?
Yeah, we both did grow up in the church. We grew up in the Salvation Army. I don't think a lot of people know that the Salvation Army is also a church as well as a, I guess, what else would we call it? Well, thrift store, yeah. And we don't go to church in thrift stores. You know, it's like pews and I got this shirt this jersey at a Salvation Army. Sunday morning, so no, it's not that way. Yeah, we both grew up in the church. We both still actually go to church with the Salvation Army. We both work for the Salvation Army as well. I actually work with the disaster services the Salvation Army does. Justin works at a Korean Salvation Army, actually. It's pretty cool. Great people there. And I'd say the stories are definitely inspired by our beliefs, but also inspired just kind of in the environment we've grown up in as well. Reading, you know, these they're written as stories in the Old Testament. They're written out in this language, and that's because they were to be passed on as such. And so Justin was the first to start writing songs based on Bible stories, and
First ever.
This is pretty historic, people. No, he was in our band. He was first. And then our other member, Erica, and I, joined in and started doing that. But we were very inspired. Good job. And yeah, I don't know. It's for me. I can speak, Justin. I'll let you talk in a sec. But like for me personally, it's based on belief and also just environment that I was raised in as well. Just hearing these stories and kind of trying to experience the truth of them in these modern times, you know.
Right on, dude.
Any other questions? I want to ask Jamie a question. Are you still involved in the PB?
Yeah,
You
I'm,
are?
I'm still part of the poetry brothel, the
Okay.
Chicago Poetry Brothel.
Would you? So that wasn't in your bio, and I didn't know if that was intentional.
No, it was.
Could you talk? That's a pretty interesting group, and just like especially, it makes a nice juxtaposition to the last question I asked. But could you talk a little bit about that organization?
Sure. Well, it was started in the UK, and there's a New York chapter, and we are the Chicago chapter, and it's called the Chicago Poetry Brothel. It's comprised of male and female poets who are also professors in Chicago, and so we, once every 2 months, we get dressed up in Victorian garb as Poetry Brothel, as whores. But we are poetry whores. And so patrons come and give us tokens, and we will give private readings in sectioned off areas. I am the woodland doll. And there are other characters like Vivian Knightwood, and Nat Lowe, so on and so. There's a Madame, and there's a doctor. There's a good doctor, and yeah, it's a fun night. We did this. This organization's purpose is to sort of break down the barrier between poetry readings and the patrons who go to readings. So there isn't a barrier between myself and the person I'm reading to. I'm sitting right next to them, so it's a private reading, and they get to ask me questions about things that I read them, and so it's a learning experience for us both. So we're bringing poetry to the people.
Are your plays ever performed in such a way that we can go see them? Or that we can talk Nick into bringing you here back again to do them?
We do shows. We have gone around to a couple places in Chicago, and we do readings. Our next reading is going to be in February at the Green Mill. I think it's February 21st, but that date is still being confirmed, so don't quote me on it. But yeah, we are going to be doing a 25 reenactment of what we do at the Poetry Brothel at the Green Mill.
I think that's your plays, though.
Oh, my play. Oh, you're asking about my plays. Oh, yeah. My plays, since they're one act and usually monologue, I haven't yet found someone who wants to read the monologue, so they're not actually put on yet. Although when I was on an interview with like, I forget where it was, I'm so bad, it was for Loyola, I did do an excerpt of one of my plays during that interview. So.
All right, last chance, y'all. Going once, going twice. I want to thank all of you a whole lot for coming out tonight because it's January and it's Racine, Wisconsin, and I want to thank these performers a whole lot for driving really hard.